What are I bonds? Is it really a 7.12% guaranteed return on my investment? Is it really tax-free? Are they right for me? These are the questions around I bonds that we'll be answering in this video. Hey folks, I'm Harris, and in this video, we're going to be discussing a lot of topics around I bonds and whether or not they're right for you, and I'll also walk you through step by step how to go and purchase I bonds at the end of this video. Feel free to hit that timestamp down below if you do want to skip ahead. So what are I bonds? I bonds stand for inflation-linked bonds. They're basically a form of you loaning money to the government and getting a 7.12% return on it. And because you are loaning money to the government, it is a safer alternative to other investment options out there, unless of course the government defaults, in which case you'd have much bigger problems. So how are the interest rates determined for these I bonds? Well, there are two components to the interest rate for I bonds. One is a fixed interest rate, which is currently 0%, and then there's a variable interest rate directly linked to inflation, which currently sits at about 7.12%. This interest is also guaranteed for 6 months from the period you purchase it, meaning if you buy I bonds now all the way through the end of April 2022, you will be getting 7.12% interest for the first 6 months following that holding period. Now, as of May 2022, a new interest rate will be generated based on whatever the CPI, whatever the inflation rate reads at that time, which, let's be honest, it's probably not going to be a lot lower than 7% given everything that's going on right now. So whatever that new interest rate is, that's what your interest will be for the latter 6 months following your first 6 months of holding these bonds. As far as taxes are concerned, I bonds are exempt from local and state income taxes, meaning they're only taxable at the federal level and you only accrue taxes when you actually sell your bonds. Now for some caveats, you can only buy these bonds directly from the government from their website, TreasuryDirect.gov. I have a detailed step-by-step guide on how to buy these bonds, so stay tuned. You can only purchase up to $10,000 worth of bonds per person per year. And yes, that includes your spouse and dependents. They're also able to buy up to $10,000 of bonds per person. Now, if you don't have $10,000 sitting around collecting dust, what the hell are you doing? Subscribe to my channel where you're going to learn how to make more money, keep more money, and build your wealth. You must own these bonds for at least a year. So keep in mind that these $10,000 will have to be locked up for at least a year. If you sell these bonds within 5 years, know that you will actually be forfeiting the last 3 months of interest for when you held those bonds. Meaning, if you plan to purchase the bonds now and hold them for 12 months, and then you decide to sell them after 12 months, well, guess what? You're only going to be given interest for those first 9 months. So is it a true 7.12% return on your investment if you plan to hold it for just a year? Probably not, but I would wager to say it's probably about 25% less, since 3 months out of 12 months in a year is 25%, and it might be slightly more than that because the interest does compound semi-annually or every 6 months. Since we're on the topic of interest is accrued on the first day of every month, and it's not prorated. And what's interesting about that is, say you buy a bond March 1st of 2022, and by the time it's February 1st of 2023, which is about 11 months, you will actually have accumulated 12 months of interest. And the reason why is because, again, it calculates on the first day of every month. And finally, if you do decide to hold a bond for over 30 years, you will not be accruing any additional interest after 30 years. So just to reiterate, if you decide to buy these bonds anytime through the end of April 2022, you will lock in that 7.12% interest rate for the first 6 months that you hold these bonds. And as of May 2022, the new interest rate will be determined. So when your first 6 months of holding period expires, that's when the new interest rate will kick in for the next 6 months. Now for some final thoughts. We all love low risk, high reward outcomes, and conventional wisdom has always been to buy indexes like the S&P 500, which tend to return between 7 and 8% on average over a long period of time. But let's be real, how is that looking so far this year? Not so good. You might also be tempted to look into high-yield dividend stocks such as AT&T, which I personally consider to be a safe investment vehicle up until recently when they decided to cut their dividend in half, more than half, for 2022, and now the stock has been tanking ever since. And let's face it, what other options do you have? You can either go high risk, high reward, such as putting your money in the market, or you could go low risk, low reward, such as putting your money in a high yield savings account where you only yield 0.5%. And taking that into account, the I bonds are certainly an attractive instrument. So if you are looking for a hedge against inflation and some diversity away from high risk investments, I bonds might be ideal for you if if you do intend to hold them for the long term, at least over a year. Now, if you are interested in exactly how to buy these step by step, stay tuned for my tutorial that I made just for you, and of course consider subscribing to my channel if you find content like this helpful. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is head over to TreasuryDirect.gov, and it's going to say open an account on the right hand side. So you want to click open an account in the event that you don't already have an account open. In my case, I don't, so I'm just going to be doing this all the way from the beginning. So I clicked open an account, and it takes me to this page. And because this is a Treasury Direct bond, this is the application that we want to fill out. So I'm going to click Treasury Direct. And as you can see here, there's going to be 3 steps to this process. So first, we're going to be selecting the type of account that we're creating. The step 2 will be, entering your personal information like your social security number, your tax ID, email, bank account information, so they could extract the funds from your account. And finally, the security layer with your password and security questions, all that fun stuff. So make sure to read the fine print because it's serious stuff, obviously. But then scroll down and click Apply Now. Once you're at this page, again, this is step 1. So what type of account are you opening? Are you a corporation, partnership, LLC, whatever the case is? For most of us, and for myself, it's going to be individual. It's going to be an individual account. So that's what I'll select, and I will hit submit. And now for step 2, again, this is your personal information. So be sure to fill this out and make sure you don't make any mistakes, especially down here where you enter in all of your bank information, because it's going to be a pain to change that down the road. So make sure that you are planning ahead, making sure the information is correct, and that long term you plan on using the same bank account. So just be mindful of that. And of course, for your tax ID number, you can enter in your social security number here. And once you fill this out, like I will, be sure to check this box here after reading all the fine print and then hit submit. So once you hit submit, it's going to take you to this page just to make sure that you enter the correct information. So just verify your information, make sure everything looks good. Again, make sure that bank account information and your personal details all look good. And then finally scroll down and hit submit. Once you hit submit, you'll be taken to this page where it's going to ask you to select a personalized image. So next time you do go on the Treasury Direct website, you'll know that it's authentic because you're going to be able to identify the image. So go ahead and select an image and an associated caption that reminds you of that image, and then hit submit. Once you hit submit, you'll be at step 3 where you have to enter in all the security stuff. So of course, set up your password, your security questions, the password reminder, all that fun stuff. So be sure to fill that out and hit submit. As far as these 3 security questions, you only really have to fill out 3, so you don't have to fill all of them out, but you can at the very least fill out 3 just so you're on the safe side, and then hit submit. So once you submit your application, you'll come to this page where it says thanks for opening an account with us, and they're effectively going to send an email over to your email address confirming that the account has been created, and they will send you more information like an account number, which you'll use to then be able to sign into your account. All right, so once you get the email and you have your account number, we're going to go back to TreasuryDirect.gov, and if you remember last time we clicked open an account, but this time we already have an account, so we're going to go directly to Treasury Direct right here. We're going to click on this, and it's going to take me to this page. So again, I'm going to click login, and now it's going to ask me for my account number. So be sure to fill that in with the account number you just got on the email. Once you enter your account number and hit submit, they're actually going to send a one-time passcode to your email just to make sure it's you. So grab that one-time passcode and enter that in, and then click here to register your computer. If you plan on using the same computer in the future, it's just going to make things easier down the road. And then of course hit submit. Once you hit submit, it's going to now take you to that page where you can identify that personal photo that you selected before. Just make sure it's the right caption that you typed in, and then it's going to have you enter in the password that you used to set up the account. And you're going to have to use this keyboard down here. So it's not going to be, your keyboard is not going to be operable for this field here. You're going to have to physically type in the password. So be sure to do that, and then scroll down and hit submit. So once you're logged into your portal, you're going to want to go to Buy Direct, and you're going to want to click Series I under your savings bond, because again, this is the I bond that we want to purchase. Then hit submit. Now we're at the screen where we can actually purchase our bonds. So make sure your registration information is correct. So this is for me. If you wanted to add like a spouse or have like a joint account or whatever, you'd have to go to add new registration. But this is just for me because I'm selfish and I just don't want to share my money. So it's just me. And again, we're buying I bonds. How much do we want to buy? We want to buy $10,000 worth. So enter in $10,000. The source of funds is again the bank account that I've already linked. And what is the purchase frequency? I just want to buy it once. I want to buy it all together as soon as possible. So this is today's date. I'm just going to enter that in. And then you're going to want to scroll down and hit submit. Once you hit submit, you'll be at the purchase review screen. So just look over everything, make sure everything looks good, and then hit submit if you're satisfied with everything you entered. Once you hit submit, it's going to confirm that your purchase has been made. And if you paid attention to the last screen, which you should have, and also down here, it's going to say that it does take about one business day to reflect on your TreasuryDirect account. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, you want to make sure to print this page out. So I like to typically print it as a PDF to keep for my records just in case I need it. And of course, if you're paranoid, you could always go to history and then security history, where it's going to show you that the transaction did occur or it is in the process of occurring, as you could see here. But that's about it. So we just bought $10,000 worth of I bonds, and we should be receiving 7.12% interest for the first 6 months. And come May of 2022, we'll know what the next 6 months will look like as far as interest. Well, folks, hope you guys found this helpful. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you do find content like this helpful. And of course, leave any questions or comments you might have down below. Thanks for watching.